Number 9. Okay, I'm sorry. Y'all got some crazy members of this church. All right, I'm going to read aloud while you're reading silent, okay? How good is it to center down, to sit quietly and see one's self pass by. The streets of our minds settle with endless traffic. Our spirits resound with clashing with noisy silence. While something deep within hungers and thirsts for the still moment and the wrestling lull. With full intensity, we seek the quiet passes. A fresh sense of order is in our living. A direction, a strong, sure purpose that will structure our confusion and bring meaning in our chaos. We look ourselves in the waiting moment, the kinds of people we are. The question persists, what are we doing with our lives? What are the motives that order our days? What are the ends of our doings? What are we trying to go? Where do we put the emphasis? And where are our values focused? For what end do we make sacrifices? Where's my treasure? And what do I love most in life? What do I hate most in life, and to what am I true? Over and over, the question beats upon the waiting moment. As we listen, floating up through all the jangling echoes of our turbulence, there's a sound of another kind, a deeper note, which only stillness of the heart makes clear. It moves directly to the core of our being, and then our questions are answered. Our spirits refreshed, and we move back into the traffic of our daily round. But with the peace of the eternal in our step, how good is it to center down? What do you think Howard Thurman's talking about? Who said something? What do you feel when you read that? Prayer. Quiet time. Good. Calm. What else? Very good poem. Very good. So what of a poem? Of a quiet meditation. Of quiet meditation. What is he suggesting about quietness? What? It centers us. It gives us a sense of peace in the chaos, right? And then when you, say it again, Rivermo, that when you're quiet, you look at, he was kind of deep with the inner self, wasn't he? What you love, what you hate, what you hold true, what you don't. Did you notice how in depth he suggests that if you power down, or he calls it center down, that you're able to even really get to know you? Because sometimes we have a language that might not necessarily be connected to who we really are. So when you power down, do I love God or don't I? Where are my motives? Where are they not? Where am I in the connection to God? Why do you think it's so challenging to have quiet time? Ooh, boy, you new, but you own it. Keep bringing nephew. We like him. I don't want to do a trade for auntie, but you because you hate to face you.
Come on now.
That's why we hang with people we don't need to hang with. That's why we play with our phones when ain't nothing going on. That's why some of us can't even go to sleep unless what? The TV's on. Because during the quiet times, it's just you and God. And it's during those moments that I cannot blame you for me. As long as we're together, I can I can make you a part of the reason why I'm not who I need to be. But when it's just me and God, you notice God never very rarely talks to me about you. Oftentimes, prophet, when he talks, he talks to you first. And so you get a glimpse of how I'm going to start Bible study in the fall. I'm going to start with some of these meditation and devotions. Because what I call is it primes the pump for our discussion in terms of worship. Because I found out you can't really worship God until you power down. Okay? All right, let's finish our worship series. All right, we discussed the last time we were together. We understand that worship is giving worth to God, but I'd like to coin this particular one of more brevity. It's the finite depending on the infinite for source. It's the thing that's created depending on that which creates for source. So because of our limitedness in human being, when we worship God, we tap in to the source that's greater than us. Okay? You remember with the woman at the well, Jesus said, if you knew who I was, you would ask me for a drink. Meaning that you are now, when you come to meet Jesus, you're coming to be refilled in a way that only God can refill. All right, so we're clear on that worship. We talked about boundaries to our worship last week. We talked about slowfulness, okay, being slowful. We talked about how when we're slow, we talked about, oh, Lord, help me, impatience and how that was critical. Because in patience, we talk about if we're not patient with God, we be looking at how God's blessing somebody else. And I'm looking at what the Lord is doing for you. And if I don't think God is doing it for me in the same speed, then I get impatient with the will and God for my life. Then it brings to the other one, just flesh. This flesh is crazy. My own self-will desire impedes my desire to worship. And I made a joke. I don't know who I joked with. There might have been Chris. I tell one time we're going to change seats and just see how people do. Play musical chairs on Sunday. Come and tell you, you think that's your seat? No, you got a seat over there. Because people have been conditioned to worship in the same place at the same time. And if you touch that seat, then they cannot get in tune with God. Amen. Now, we deal with 4 more, and then we're going to wrap it up, and I'm going to get home and go ahead and finish my show, Queen Sugar. Amen. Amen. I got to catch up on the last one because I missed the second one that came on, but I'll get it. Now, the first thing I think that separates us from worshiping God is what we call a sectarianism or separatism. Or this is what I mean by this. It's a narrow, bigoted spirit which does not include all those who love God. Meaning, sectarianism is I'm willing to use this too because he kind of said this to us today, where we're so connected to the group of us that we can't see the value in the other worshipers of Christ. Does that make sense what I'm saying? It's almost like I said today, the sadness of the landscape of the political thing is this to me, is that people are so Republican or Democrat that they can't see past the reality that we're Americans. And they are fighting tooth and nail down party lines, all because nobody can see the value in the other. Does that make sense what I'm saying? The problem is when you come to the place of the church where everybody's somebody and Jesus is Lord, but yet we allow sects to form in the church. Better word for them, black word is cliques. That only sees the value in each other's cliques. And now worship is not organic because the value only comes when the clique worships the same way. That make sense what I'm saying? Let's look at the Bible because you're looking at me strange. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 10. You made that cake today, didn't you? Praise the Lord. Y'all pray for me. I was going to give it to Karen. And then they told me who made it. And then Sister Marcella, I don't think you want that. So we'll put that in the car. She said, because Ratley got one. And when Ratley got, I said, I know who made that cake. I said, put that right in the car. This is a true story. I can't make this stuff up. Did Pastor Taylor tell me not to eat the whole cake? He just said that the other day. First Corinthians chapter. Take a slice and pass it on? Well, I'll start that next year before he come back. You see, I just got the organ guy back just in time. And y'all sat there like he was there all year, lying with the pastor. Play Kadeem. I said, y'all ain't worth a dime. Y'all ain't worth a dime. Y'all just as bad as the pastor. We all going to hell. Lying. And Kadeem was right with us, wasn't he? I said, oh, Lord, we done corrupted Kadeem. And he played, too. Played like he been doing it every week, didn't he? And y'all went right with it. I said, Lord Jesus. Oh, God, pray with this church. This church needs some help. My wife said, you should be ashamed of yourself. I said, well, I ain't embarrassed. Oh, Father God. Here's the word of the Lord. I'm sorry, 1 Corinthians 10, verse 16 and 17. The cup of blessing that we bless is not a sharing in the blood of Christ. The bread that we break is not a sharing in the body of Christ. Because there's one bread, we who are many are one body, we're all partakers of the one bread. What was happening, communion for the Corinthian had become classism. And so what happened was those who were rich would have communion in the upper court, and those who were poor would have communion in the end. And they wouldn't share their food. And so instead of communion being something that included everybody, communion became something that was broken up into different sects or classes. And now Paul writes to the Corinthian church because he says the cup that should be for the one blood and for the same Christ, y'all have divided it, because for the thing that should cause the most unification has now caused the most division. Okay? And so now Paul is admonishing them, saying, listen, if you're going to be a worshiper of Christ, you cannot worship Christ I don't say can, I hate absolutes like that, but to its best. That's a better word to put more words around it. When there's so many sects that when you can't see the value in other people that love Jesus just like you. Okay? We use these terms lightly, but these terms are meant to be used. When you call people brother and sister in the Lord, that means something. We're not just saying this because we're a fraternity. We ain't no fraternity. We ain't pledged nothing together. We are in the same family. And so God is saying, I don't want you worshiping me, but you can't get along with the people on the road. You can't get along with the people on the left. You can't get along with the people on the right. Are you with me here? And you don't get along with them because you don't have no problems. As long as people together, we're going to have problems. Hello? As long as we got this flesh, we're going to have problems. Are you with me here? You cannot expect this problem-free life to think that if we have problems, that means we ought not know. Problems will go occur because people see things differently. People view things differently. People have different historicities. People were brought up differently. People got different triggers. What makes you mad on Wednesday make me mad on Friday. Some of y'all mad is hot. Somebody mad is cold. You're just mad. This is how life is. Somebody mad, boss got on your nerves. Hello. But that does not mean we take it to the point where we allow the divisions to mess up our view of each other as a believer of the Lord. I'm jealous of the Muslims. I am. Because the Muslims do not let you talk about them. I ain't never heard a rumor about Farrakhan. Matter of fact, the reason why they killed Malcolm X is Malcolm X started squealing at Muhammad's cruise cutting chicks. You don't see nobody talking about mosque number 3, they get on my nerves because all they do is raise the offering. Now, they're going to argue in there. But they definitely going to let you Christians know what's going to happen on in there. That's the truth. Y'all know I'm not lying. But it's funny how the Muslims know everything that's going on in the Christian church from Christians. From Christians. From the believers. Because we ought to put value and stock in our brothers and sisters in the Lord because we serve and worship the same Jesus. And Jesus challenges worship now because he says real worship takes place not only when you see the value in me, but worship takes place when you can see the value in your brother, whom you might not necessarily agree with all the time. Does that make sense? Because it's easy to agree with people that agree with you. Y'all quiet tonight. I feel good. Because it's just certain people that fit your personality. That's true. Some people just, you mean your personalities don't get along, but that don't mean they're not valuable. That means they're different. And they have the same value in God as you do. And the moment you start thinking higher of yourself than others, you've now become a person who can't worship God in spirit and in truth. Because God says, if you're going to worship me, the key to worshiping me is that you have to interact with each other to get to me. Okay, let me prove my point. I don't care what you say. If you love me, they're going to know you love me by how you treat what? One another. Right? And so the value in each other is critical in my understanding of worshiping God. Because that means you ever see people, churches, who become so isolated that they think their way is the only way? You ever been in the type of churches that, everybody else is going to hell but them. Everybody going to hell but them. You ain't never been in, I remember in my radical days, not for, when you got saved, you young, when they catch you and you're young, you just think, everybody going to hell but you. Till you realize life gets knocking on the door, you just as weak as the person that you was judging. Right? But these sex form that thinks that they're the only one coming because they inflate their view of themselves and deflate the view of their brothers and sisters. Anybody that calls upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. Let me say it again. Anybody who calls upon the name of, my heart is not just for Alpha, and it is for Alpha, because this is where I worship, but my heart is bleeding for churches all over. The church world is taking hits all over, and my heart bleeds. Because they are my brothers and sisters as well, just as much as you. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So when we say the mantra, everybody somebody, we mean everybody somebody, even if they don't go to our church. Woo! Let me say it again. We mean they somebody if they don't walk down this aisle. There's people that come here, don't even join church. They just come in, Pastor, I just like preaching. They come in. They come in, they say, I ain't joining, but I just like to hear you just as valuable as you. Hello? I mean, that's how, see, we did create this stuff where we checking tithes and all that, but that ain't how God get down. Oh, the other one, the Christian church. Y'all don't want, God don't check what member you are. God says, if you love me, you my sheep. That's it. We've created the divisions. We've created the denominations. We've created this and Baptist this and this and that and all that because this split came. But God said, when I look at y'all, all I see is people that love me. And I've gotten to the point, I go to the Presbyterian church, be just as happy. Now, I can't express myself the way I want to express myself. I think it needs some barbecue sauce on the chicken. But I can't say this ain't chicken. I'm serious. And you can glean when you value people that worship different from you. I went to the Presbyterian church. The sermon was 12 minutes. First, I said to myself, I can work here. If they would have me, I sure would put my resume in. But they get rid of me on the first Bible study. They said, we got to get this boy up out of here. What we get ourselves into. But just because worship styles are different. You know what I mean? I love one of my best friends, Hezekiah. I like him because we're different. We're different. We're just different. But that don't mean he wrong or I'm wrong. That's why the joke he made when he come out, I said, now come on, Bishop, we Baptists over here now. They used to stay in the church at 1 o'clock in the morning. Y'all got tired about 9:15. They said, now, Bishop, Bishop, we out of here. We home by 9:30, Bishop. What you doing? You're a little bit low. Now, if you ain't going to sing, we got to go. But that's just our culture. That makes sense what I'm saying? And neither one of them are wrong or right. And I learned how when I go down there, no, put that dress on, baby. Put the dress on. The women don't wear pants over there. Put the dress on. And I respect that, and that don't mean he wrong. Are you with me here? That don't mean he wrong. That's just that's how they get down. And they's going to heaven just like I'm going to heaven, but when we go here, they're going to wear pants over here. And we laugh and joke the whole time and laugh about it. But that doesn't mean he's wrong, I'm wrong, or he's less, or I'm less. We're all valuable in God's arms. And so you'll see when you really get to know me, I have people that are different. I get somebody crazy Pentecostal, Lester Taylor, then Bishop Reed, Black Charles Stanley, it all's a mix. Then we get us a white preacher here, we have some fun over here next year. No, I'm serious. No, I'm serious, because we got to be able to eat off different things that might not necessarily be our personality. Because as long as we only eat off our personality, you'll always be personality driven. And when you're in need, and I'm going to tell you, when I'm in need, I don't care what color they are. When I'm in need, it can be T.D. Jakes, get ready, Charles Stanley behind the desk, come on here, MacArthur with a book. When I need a word, I don't care who it comes from. Just give me what I need. When you sick, you go to the doctor, you don't care what do you take my Medicaid? Because I ain't got time for no heavy copay. What we doing here? Y'all ain't. That's what you want to know. Can you handle this? Then the next one, are you a specialist? Because you don't want nobody went to no rinky-dink school. You say, what school? I ain't never heard of that. I ain't never heard of that. Because you want that need. It don't matter their personality. Matter of fact, I don't want my doctor to have my personality. That's too crazy. I need you calm. He come here laughing and joking. I'm saying ain't nothing funny. But you make sense what I'm saying. All right, let's keep going. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 1:9. I love this one. This is a good verse. God is faithful. By him, you are called into the fellowship of his Son, of Jesus Christ. Go to verse 12. What I mean is that each of you say, I belong to Paul, I belong to Apollos, or I belong to Cephas, or I belong to Christ. Has Christ been divided? This was happening here. People start claiming different people in the church. And so now the church was divided because some people say, I'm down with Paul, I'm down with Harris, I'm down with Chris, I'm down with Mo, I'm down with Felder. And then Paul said, well, who's down with Jesus? I pray. I want one more gift. Y'all give me one more gift for my anniversary. We can make it. If we ever get unified, we can do something. That'd be a gift you can keep your money. Seriously. Because if you ever got on the same page, it's scary what could become an alpha. Because I think sometimes we got too many cliques. I should have saved this for Sunday. I needed more people to say this to. I like him. Bring him again. About to make you honorary member, boy. But cliques and cliques can be problematic, and I notice it sometimes, like even when like we preach or sometimes we can preach and we can just all be talking, me and Bishop be laughing, and we forget, well, what about the people? Oh Lord, come on, let's talk to people. Can you imagine how intimidating it is if you come to church and you don't really know nobody? And as soon as the benediction, everybody break up. That group go over there, that group go over there, that group over there, and then they got this little crazy little light skin just run around to each group laughing. And that's the pastor. He's crazy boy. And the new member just sitting there like, well, where I come in? Where do I fit? Where do I fit? And so the more that and it's not that people don't have influence, and that's not please not. People mentor you. You should like people. That's not what I'm saying. But when it comes to Jesus, he's number one. Over me, over Paul, over everybody. What is Jesus saying? Okay? And get to the point where you can interpret what the Lord is saying while I'm preaching for yourself. Somebody came in today. Well, tell me what I'm supposed to do. It's not my job to tell you what you're supposed to do. I'm just here to give you the options. A counselor that keeps telling you what to do is not a good counselor. That's a manipulator. No, this is option one. Here's option two. Here's the strength. of both. Here's the weaknesses. You make the choice. Now, move out of the way because they're on my way with my Chick-fil-A. It's real, okay? All right, let's keep going. Now, the other one that concerns me is formalism, okay? That's the substitution of scriptural simplicity and the liberty of the Spirit. Meaning, this is the way we're going to do it, and I don't care what God say, we're going to do it this way. I've seen it all the time. I've seen it. There's nothing more refreshing than to have a congregation that will throw away the agenda if God says so during service. Okay? Because sometimes we can be so programmed in how we do it that God might say, go this way. Okay? I read all summer long on Philippians, all summer, June, July, August. I met with 3 of the best New Testament scholars on Philippians last year, E.K. Bellis. I have books ready to preach Philippians. And when God says go to Genesis, I said, you get on my nerves. I didn't spend no time in that, Lord. Are you understanding what I'm saying? But here I'm preaching Philippians, and people losing loved ones and talking about going through, and I'm talking about, no. God said, I gotta put you in tune where everybody at. Am I making sense what I'm saying? Yes. And God is saying it's good to prepare, but when I call an audible, be ready to roll. Are you with me here? Because sometimes people might just need prayer. Oh, y'all. And God is in tune with all of our needs and knows where we're all at. And so when God calls an audible, we ought to know the audible is always best for us every time, church. Don't be so locked into your agenda that when God tells you to move a certain way, you still stuck where you used to be. Are you with me here? Because the key to greatness is comfortability. Sometimes we get so comfortable in the way we do things that God can't take us to greatness because we're just used to being comfortable. And sometimes God calls us to do things differently, not because we're doing something wrong. He just wants us to get something better. Are you with me here? Let's look at the Bible. Galatians 2:4. I'll start at 3. But even Titus, who was with me, was not compelled to be circumcised, though he was Greek, but because of false believers secretly brought in, who slipped in to spy on the freedom we have in Christ Jesus, so they might enslave us. This is what happened. The Jews wanted everybody circumcised, form. Paul said, nope, we're going to worship the way we want to worship. And the Jewish Christians at first could not handle it, the freedom that comes with Jesus Christ. And I love the freedom of Jesus. Jesus is free. He'll let you worship in any way you want to worship. Oh, y'all, I feel good tonight. Sometimes you worship when you rock your head. That's worship. Sometimes worship, you're just crying and ain't nothing wrong. That's worship. Are you with me here? You can't even regulate how someone worships. Because we all worship differently. Because ain't no rules. There's no regulation. There's no, if ever God, ain't nothing like a spontaneous relationship. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Picked Ed up Monday. She didn't know where we was going. She said, where we going, baby? I said, we're going to get some crabs, unplanned. She was, yo, you my baby. Come on, talk to me here. I had a little money. I said, go in there and order as many crabs you want. It was after the anniversary. Can't do this every Monday. But this Monday we can get it in. Spontaneous. Everybody likes spontaneity in their relationship. Am I right? Come on. You like when you get that surprise. Come on here. You like when them flowers come. Who they for me? God said, I like spontaneity in our relationship. And sometimes I might show up in the beginning of the service. You ever seen it? Like we never know when God's going to show up. Sometimes it's the beginning, be like, Lord, have mercy. Sometimes it's in the middle. Sometimes it's during the preaching, folk going crazy. Sometimes it's after the benediction when people falling out. That's funny. But I'm just saying, we can't say this is when God is showing up. Or not he's showing up, or this is when the move of God is. I'm careful of people that always try to make the move this time no. Sometimes praise the word so good, I'm just done. I'm done. Y'all put a fork in me. Did what? When she sung change, I was done. I started thinking about what he changed me for. Well, he could have gave a benediction right now. I got to go home. Does that make sense what I'm saying? And God's saying, don't have a form in your worship of God. Meaning, it got to be this way, and this way only. Sometimes I come in the parking lot. The Lord flipped this thing on me on Wednesday. I was flipped it on me. When I ride in the parking lot, I don't look down there because I don't want to see the vans. So I just be looking this way. That's the shame. That's the truth. I don't want to get all, be ready to fuss. They're taking these vans here. Matter of fact, I ain't seen nobody buy one van since we've been here. I'm begging somebody to buy these vans, please. I'm going to call up people, please, somebody buy a van? Because it don't look like one van has been sold since not one. I ain't seen a person look at the van. They do? Please, we got to help them with sales. We got to help them. I'm about to be the salesman. I'm going to come in there. Come on, get these vans out of here. So Lord had me look this time. Right, they're handicapped, right. Lord had me look this time. And the Lord saw how the deacons were shuttling people. And the Lord started getting me a worship in that. Because when I saw our deacons respond, y'all. Because sometimes God will show up in the problem and make you worship because you handling the problem right. God's the only God I know that can show up in a bad thing and still get worship out of it. Has he ever showed up in the sick room for you? Come on, talk. Don't act like I'm the only one. Has he ever showed up in the courtroom for you? Has he ever showed up in an argument for you? And the very thing that the devil meant for bad, oh, yes, sir. God worked it and turned it for your good. Because God said, don't you put me in no box whenever I want you to work. Matter of fact, some of us be in the cubicle and God get a hold of you like, Lord, don't you do this to me right now. I ain't trying to cry for all these people. And they be like, what's wrong? You be like, I don't know. But the Lord's just been so good to me. Because God said, when I'm ready for you to give me what I want, I'll come get it. God will show up in the board meeting. You all sophisticated, talking graphs, and all of a sudden, what's wrong? You be like, oh, it's my allergies. You get to thinking of the goodness of the Lord, and the Lord said, now you know you ain't got no good reason being here had I not opened the door. And you be like, I know you're right, God. I know you're right. Lord, and if you want to see the Lord show up, go visit some sick folk. Y'all ain't gonna help me tonight. I'm good. It ain't a time I don't walk out of some visiting somebody that's sick. One, I get strength by seeing our people go through. I talked to Sister Wright the other day. She did more for me than I did for her. I said, I should give you an offering. The fact that you can answer the phone after all you've been through, come on, help me here. Sometimes when you see our Christian brothers and sisters go through and still love the Lord, it ought to put a different spirit in you that if they can worship God, oh, I feel good right now. When I read Deacon Grimes' post, I started saying, let me give God the praise, because if he can give God the praise in his condition, shame on me that I'm sitting here with all my faculties and won't lift up the name of God. Are you with me here? We've got to remember God will show up in some of the strangest times. And when he show up, just let God have what is due his name. Because you know what, church? I realize worship ain't for God. It ain't a time I worship God that I ain't better for worshiping him. All right. Third thing that stops us, we're almost through. an unforgiving spirit. Matthew chapter 5. Whew. This is a hard one, man. This is a hard one. This is a hard one. Sister Payne, when you left out, they was talking about you. They said that word is for her. No, they said that. I got to stop being so crazy. I can really go to no other church, but this one, I got to stop. Here we go, the word of the Lord. But I say to you that if you're angry with a brother or sister, you will be liable to judgment. Matthew 5:22 and 23. But I say that if you're angry with a brother or sister, you'll be liable to judgment. And if you insult a brother or sister, you will be liable to the council. And if you say you fool, you'll be liable to hell or fire. So when you offer your gift at the altar, if you remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there before the altar and go first be reconciled to your brother and sister and then come back and offer your gift. And many of us don't know how to forgive, man. And I'm us. I'm putting me in there. And they just, and we say these words about forgiveness, I forgive, but I won't forget. Really? How you do that? And some of us, sometimes we won't let people walk in forgiveness. All of us have, There's somebody came out, this is a true story. This is a very true story. I have good stories. They're true. Who's the lady that does sells the tapes out there? Lisa. So Lisa came to me, somebody's coming to church, just can't believe it. I thought she said can't believe Jesus. She said no. She was on the same bus you was on when you got thrown off in high school. I said, what? I said, that was 20 years ago. This is a true story. She said she just wants to come to church because she went to high school with you. This is 10th grade. And she can't believe that it's true that you preaching. This is true story. Asked her, this is true story. Wednesday, she was sitting right next to the girl. The girl was looking in utter amazement. Oh, help me, Father. Did you see? She was looking at like, and she came there, she said, Pastor, you got to forgive me. I just can't. This is Chad. She said, I got to come back to see you in action. Because I remember 10th grade. I was 16 years old. I'm 45 years old. I've done dumber stuff than that since then. I'm just saying if you can remember. I'm just saying, come on, man, that wasn't a crescendo of my stupidity. I got some more stuff to add to the narrative if you were. But she cannot let that moment go when it comes to me. And I was complaining in the car here with my wife. Well, that was crazy. I thought I would be quiet. I don't need your help. But we do the same thing to people. We won't even call them by their name. When you try to, what's that? Charlie. You remember Charlie stole that little bus down there 9 years ago? That's Charlie, the little bus thief. Come on, y'all. Y'all getting quiet on me now. When y'all remember, okay, I seen y'all do this in church. I see y'all, when I say, who's such and such? Such and such left. Oh, you remember such and such left? Who used to be a member of that family, got divorced. And here you go. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Ain't that the truth? Because we hold in our memory what people do. The bad things. And won't let them walk in forgiveness. When I first got here, man, they was punching my office down. People telling on everybody on what was done before I got. I said, listen here. Listen. I ain't got no control over what happened before I got here. Everybody get a fresh start. That's the gift of a new pastor. I don't know nobody. Are you with me here? But I'm gonna tell you, and some of the people they tell me was gonna be the worst end up being the best people I've ever met in my life. And some of the people that say they're gonna be the best, well, we just leave that right there. Vacation's close, Sister Peggy. Vacation's close. I'm serious. That's why you got to be careful when you let people tell you how somebody else is. You got to find out for yourself. And then God says, if we let all of us have the ability to be new every day. And shame on us if we don't give each other the ability to walk in newness. So stop calling church members, oh, that's just crazy such and such. No, crazy such and such might be different today. And the Bible says we ought to speak those things that are not as though they are. Okay? And some of us have not forgiven people that are dead. You know I ain't lying. Come on, let's go here tonight. And so because you have not released them, you are stuck. And I'm telling you this right now. I'm just me, man. Maybe I ain't the brightest guy. But if you broke my heart 20 years ago, you ain't controlling me. The devil is a lie. Huh? You done broke my heart, you all around town, laughing and joking, smiling and carrying on. The devil is a lie. I'm going to force myself to get over you. If I got to go midnight prayer all night long, I'm going to shake you. Are you with me here? And people have not forgiven, and they get bitter, and they live their whole life trying to get back at somebody. You ever see vengeful people that way? Yes, sir. Spend the whole life. And God says you can't worship when you can't forgive. Oh, my. You can't worship until you forgive. And forgiveness is not only for them, it's for you. Y'all, come on. I feel good tonight. Forgiveness is that, one, I got to forgive you because what you've done to me, I probably did to somebody else at some time or two. Y'all quiet now. Everybody, there's two things I can tell about anybody in here. Your heart's been broken and you broke a heart. Hello? Because when the shoe on the other foot, you weren't as merciful when you was breaking up. You're like, don't you call me no more. I don't want to smell you. I don't even want to see you walk around here. And you say to yourself, I can't believe I could be that mean, just how you was treated. So God says, one, I got to have forgiveness because all of us are not perfect. Two, my life's too valuable. Time is too precious. I was talking to people today, and I asked them, could I use it? They lost a whole week in Myrtle Beach because they was arguing over something stupid. My whole thing is, if you're going to argue, don't do it a vacation week. I'm telling you, listen here. We can stay where the lights is off if that's the case. And people, what I'm trying to get at is people waste time holding grudges. Life's too short. I don't know when I'm going to die, so I ain't got time to be mad at somebody. And can I push it just a little bit further? If you love somebody, quit being mad unnecessarily. Not saying to be mad, but fix it quick. Fix it. If you can fix it quick, fix it. I'm tired of people rolling around at the funeral. And you can tell the person that had no relationship with the person. What I'm going to do when you die? You should have did it when they was alive. And when you lose enough people, you'll realize some problems ain't really problems. When you see other people's wives die or husbands die, you'll say, well, you living your little raggedy stuff over here. I love you. Come on, we get over it. Are you with me here? And sometimes even in church, we let problems fester too long with people that love each other. Fix them. God said, don't let the sun go down. You ought not be going to bed good if there's still a problem in your house. Come on here. Because tomorrow ain't promised to anybody. And if you wake up and they get hit by a bus, you'll be tore up. What would the problem mean then? Nothing. Got it? Last one, I'm done. What am I looking at? 5 minutes, perfect. Last one's pride. Oh. Pride. Pride is not worshiping God, but worshiping self. Okay? God got a problem with pride. Okay? The reason why he says it's the worst sin, because in order for you to sin, you got to have pride in every last thing you do. There ain't a sin that you can get away from pride on. Okay? Pride is dangerous and it's sneaky because you put yourself as the centristic circle, and that should be worshipped. Okay, let's look at it. James 4, verse 6. Make sure, is my glasses foggy or do I need new glasses? I'm trying to, I hope not. I don't need a new scrap. Goodness gracious. I come back here with bifocals. James 4, verse 6, but he gives all the more grace. Therefore it says God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the what? Gives grace to the humble. That whenever you worship God, you should come to him with a humble spirit. And for me, that's where worship gets ignited for me. Because his way, God just humbles me. I'm just humbled by what he does and how he does it. I'm just humbled. Just when you think you figured him, he said, no. Be careful. Don't let pride come and take root and mess up your worship. Because every time you worship God, you should see yourself as not perfect. Does that make sense? You should see the flaws in yourself and say, man, I got work to do. Tell me you worship a good and awesome God, you ought to be able to say, man. And you know what I found out? I never understood it until I became a parent. But I'm a sucker for humility. But I hate pride. Most part, if my kids come in humble, we can get through it. If they say, Dad, man, I blew that one, man. I say, tell me what happened, man. Oh, man. All right, don't tell your mama. But if they come in arrogant, like, oh, what? Because God says, I give grace to the humble. And God says, thank you. I think you all right with me, man. The fella was just sitting there letting me think I'm going blind. Thank you. Yeah, he had me nervous. I was about to rush out of here, find Benny Hinn out of here. I was nervous. I need my eyes. I got to have them, my eyes and my voice. They can't go down. I can pick up weight, but I need them to pastor the church now. I need them to. Goodness gracious. But and here's the thing. Humble yourself. Bishop Pastella preached about boundaries. One of the things I do is I try to keep myself in a humble realm. I do. It's an everyday intent to not believe their own press. Okay? The same should go for you. Every day we're reminded that we need God to make it. Every day. Every day. Whether it's a good Sunday, whether it's a bad Sunday, whether it's a good Wednesday, bad Sunday, you still need God. And without him, my God, thank you.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.
I'm done, church. I'm done. But have you ever figured, how did you make it? I'm done. Did you ever just kind of figure, how did I get through it? Did you ever just think, and when you look at your own life, how in the world was I able? I'm talking, some of us went through some nights where we thought this was it. And yet somehow God worked. Oh, thank you. The thing that was so disastrous, the thing that was so bad, the thing that was so problematic, and somehow he was able, by his power and his grace, to get you through some dark days, some evil times, bad people, I don't know what it is. All of us got our plot in life that we had to go through, and somehow God got us through it. And who do we think we are to get to the other side and act like it was us that did it? Woo, I feel you, Lord. God says, I will take you places if you always remember it's me that's driving. But the moment you forget who's the driver and you think you the driver, I'm going to make sure you crash. And so I am forever grateful to God for how far he's brought me. And I'd like to assert to you tonight that you should be forever grateful. And if you keep an attitude of gratitude, it'll help you from being prideful. Come on, let's give God praise for how far he brought us. Oh, you can do better than that. Let's give God praise. All right, let's rest on our feet. We still need desserts. I said, well, y'all, here you look at me. Well, give yours up, Pastor. She looked at me like, you saw how she looked at me? She looked at me like,